The sales business, that is what we do, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As auctioneers, we sell stuff. We sell it fast. We sell it in a rapid, competitive manner. We sell stuff. So what I'm going to spend some time now is talking about the art of being a salesperson. Some of the things we need to consider, some of the things you need to consider. Has anybody in here been trained professionally as a salesperson? We have one or two, three, good.
Telemarketing count?
No, telemarketing. Listen, I'm going to date myself here, but I worked for a telemarketing firm when digital pagers first came out.
Yep.
And my job was to set up appointments for people to meet a salesperson to talk about digital pagers. I know for some of the people in this room, you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. These were before cell phones.
I remember.
This was before BlackBerries. This was when Motorola came out with a pager. Instead of just buzzing on your hip, it would actually display a phone number for you to call. Talking about old technology. And when I started working for that company, I couldn't get a single person. Why the heck would I want somebody's phone number? Yeah, look at us now. Anyhow, so we're going to spend a little time talking about it. There's two things I really want you to understand. In our business, we have two client groups, do we not?
Yep.
If we don't have sellers, can we have an auction?
No.
If we don't have bidders or buyers coming to that auction, are we going to make any money?
No.
Which group's more important?
They have to work together.
You got to work together. Are these two groups on the same page?
No, sir.
No.
They are at absolute odds with each other, aren't they? What's the seller group want?
Money.
What does the buyer group want?
Stuff.
Not to spend money, right? So if your job is to make both of these groups happy, we've got some work cut out for us. And if you do your job well, you can make both groups happy. How do you make the bidders happy? Just in general.
Give them a little bit of honesty.
Honesty, you want them to feel that they've been treated fairly, and even though they know they may be bidding a little bit more maybe than they should, they still feel like they're treated fairly and they got a decent deal. They know what stuff's worth. You know, especially in the fundraising world, you can take that side of it out because they're going to give you money. You know, Dan, will you give me $10,000 for this used cup of coffee? Sure. How about 15? Okay. How about $50,000? You bet. At a real auction, what are they going to give you for this? They're going to laugh at you for even offering it for sale, right? But if you sell something to a buyer who bids on it, knowing what they're getting, you treat them fairly, are they going to walk away feeling good? They should if we treat them well. So same thing on the seller side. What does the seller want? They don't want to lose money. They want to get what they think is fair for their sales, for their items. Sometimes you know what that number is, sometimes you don't. But either way, when we do our jobs, both of these groups are equally important. Can't have one without the other. I could have the best buyers in the world, but if I don't have anything to sell, I'm out of business. I could have the best auction company in the world, but if I can't attract buyers, I'm out of business. I got to do both equally, right? Make sense? You with me on that? Okay. So let's spend some time on it. I want to talk about right now the seller side of it. This is you going out and getting stuff to sell. What kind of stuff do you want to sell? Dan, what do you want to sell?
Farm equipment?
Farm equipment. I know you want to do charity auctions. You're going to beat them up if they don't give you money.
Right.
They're going to beat you up. What do you want to sell?
Merchandise,
What kind of merchandise?
automobiles, charity, just auction.
Anything. All right? Any other name? What do you want to sell?
Well, guns, I reckon.
Cool. I like guns. I have an FF gun. I love selling guns. Problem is when I sell guns, I'm just like, ooh, I want to keep this one. I end up buying half of what's consigned to me. So don't raid my house. You're in for a battle. So you need to figure out what it is you want to sell, and it can be different. I like being a generalist. I sell construction equipment. I sell liquidation auctions for the Department of Revenue. I sell out restaurants. We do estates. I like the fact that every day I'm selling something different. Downside of that is it makes me a generalist instead of an expert. The experts in one asset can generally generate more revenue because that's the only thing they sell they get really, really good at. Doesn't work in my community. I like selling a little bit of everything. Because I'm also a real estate broker, I love the estate work. Because now when I sell your stuff, oh yeah, who's selling your house? Well, I can do that for you too. And I get both deals. In 2021, I sold, I think, 10 or 12 real estate properties. 8 of them were because I was doing the estate auction. So I went in to sell their junk. I ended up selling their real estate. Where's the commission money coming from? The real estate.
That's the big.
You know, I sell a property for $500,000. Typical commission on that is, in our neighborhood,
3%?
3%.
Yeah.
What's 3% of $500,000? How much? 3% of 500,000 is how much? $15,000, right? I sell all this stuff in the house and the whole auction brings 4,000. You know, I'm taking a percentage of that, right? So if I can get the stuff and then get the real estate, I'll do the damn stuff for free because I want the real estate commission. And I've had it work both ways. You know, they call me to do the house and I can sell your stuff for you too. Oh, hey, go ahead. You know, it works out great. But anyhow, I want to talk now about how do you get the seller, the person who's going to bring you stuff to sell. Now, there's auctioneers who buy their stuff, so they're selling their own stuff, which is fine. I'm talking now about you getting assignments. We make our living in this industry about other people bringing stuff to us to sell. So let's talk about how you do that. Number one, nobody knows you better than you. Would you agree with that? When I go out and sell my company or my services to a potential client, they're not buying the Sure Success group. They're not buying the company or the team behind me. They're buying me because I'm representing the company. So when I meet with these people, they're going to buy from me or they're going to sell through me because they trust me, they feel safe with me, and I have built a relationship. I want that to be key. Write that down somewhere. You're building a relationship with these people. If you're not, you're in trouble, all right? So number one, nobody knows you better than you. I can talk about me all day. I'm good at talking about me. This is my favorite subject. Toby Keith wrote a song about that. It's my father-in-law's ringtone. I want to talk about me. But you know what you're capable of. You know what you can provide. You know what services you can offer these potential clients. And if you know that and you're confident, you've already started off the conversation reassuring them that you can solve their problem. Right? That's note number 2. It's not up there. Your job is to solve their problem. Not to make money, not to make them money. Your job is to solve their problem because every client's problem is different. Do you agree with that? What is it that you want? Well, I want you to do this, this, and this. Well, that's going to be very different. When I talk to Pete, or I talk to Dan, or I talk to Brittany, it's going to be different. Number 2, and this is important, you need to get involved in your community. People do business with people they know in their hometown, and I don't care if you're in Dallas, Houston, or Podunk, Iowa, it doesn't matter. People get to know you in your local community. I'm now the board president of our local food bank. I have been the board president of our Chamber of Commerce. It's a small town where I live, we're about 15,000 people. But I can't walk down Main Street without somebody honking and waving. And unlike when I lived in Chicago, they wave with their whole hand. They don't select just one finger, right? So they know me, which means in my community, when somebody talks about selling stuff, liquidating, auction, oh, then you got to talk to the auctioneer guy, Rich. Because they've seen me, they know me, I'm in their face on a regular basis. Do you get paid for doing that kind of stuff? No, actually, I find it very rewarding. Now that I'm the president, we have a local charity that's a food bank and then some. Being the president here means it's a 20-hour-a-week job. It's a lot of work. I get 0 for it. Feels good to give back, but now people still know me because I'm in the new paper. I'm in, doing presentations. I'm local. It's Rich the auctioneer. Excuse me. Yes, I sell real estate, but auction is the first thing I want them to see. Get involved in your community. Get involved in the industry. How do you get involved in the auction industry? What's the first thing you got to do?
Make phone calls.
No, you didn't. Before.
Go to auctions.
Go to auctions. Go find out who the auctioneers are. Meet the auctioneers. Join your state association. Anybody here from outside of Texas? Where are you going? Half the class. Wow, where are you from?
Michigan.
Michigan. I'm going to be up there this coming weekend, for the Michigan State Auctioneers Association.
Where?
I know I'm flying into, I think, Saginaw.
Oh.
I have no idea
I'm
where I'm
about
going.
15 minutes from
Yeah.
Saginaw.
Well, they're going to pick me up at the airport. I'm going to teach for an hour and then fly back home. So, and back there, where are you from?
Kansas.
Kansas. Not Kansas anymore. Mike already used that joke. Anybody from other states?
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Nobody from Colorado. It's too bad. Usually you get one. I don't care what state you're in. There is a state auctioneers association. Go join it. Go meet people. This is a very unusual industry. Most industries, real estate especially, if you're not part of their team, you're the competition. And I'm going to help you. In fact, I'm going to do everything possible to prevent you from being successful. Auction industry, 180 degrees different. This industry, you call any auctioneer in any association, in any state, and they will stop what they're doing and answer whatever questions you have and do it, and they're concerned about your success. If you're successful, I'm successful. Making you a better auctioneer makes the industry better. We truly believe that. You're going to get more people helping you as an auctioneer than any other industry. I firmly believe that.
I just got a question, like, for me, I already have established business,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking for another avenue of getting going in the auction. So like, when I leave here, where do you suggest, just to go talk to another auctioneer and
Yes.
ask them if you could help them out, or?
You know, I'm brand new to the business. I just graduated auction school. I'm trying to, get my foot in the door. What can you suggest? You may run across an auctioneer or two who says, get out. But the vast majority, like, come on in, let me show you, come help out. You want to get on the microphone here, call bids. That's what we do. That's what we do. Get to know the other auctioneers. There's no auctioneer who is so good that they've never needed somebody else's help. And I'll guarantee you, you pick up the phone and call another auctioneer and ask for help, you'll get it. No questions asked. Just done. I get a lot of referral business because I know auctioneers across the country. That's one of the benefits of being international, But get involved. And if you get involved in the industry, it also, tie my shoes, also means that you're learning what's new and what's current. You're up to date on the laws, you're up to date on the industry and the technology. Makes me a better auctioneer because I'm part of the association. I'm a step ahead of the competition who's not. Does that make sense? If your competitors don't get continuing education, are they as smart as you? Are they able to serve their clients as well as you? The answer is no. So get involved. Understand this, all business is personal. You ever hear that? It's just business? BS. I was a street cop for many, many years. And I had a sergeant that I truly believe was looking out for my best interest when he said one day, this may be the 50th time you've unlocked somebody's car because they locked their keys in the car, and it's routine. Is it routine for them? This is the first time they locked their keys in the car. They want you to help them, and your ability to help them makes it personal. It's a one-at-a-time experience. Anybody going to do estate auctions, liquidation? Grandma dies, you're going to sell the stuff in the house, right? How many times is grandma going to die? Once. This is a big deal for the family. I got a knot in my shoe, I'm sorry. The joy of being old and feeble. But know this, I'll never be as old as Mike Jones. Damn close, but never as old. So all business is personal, and I don't care if you're dealing with a corporation, an attorney, everything, it's about the relationship. They want to know what you're going to do for them. Dang it. I might in a minute. Screw it. I'll pull out a knife later and fix it. So, y'all saw that I was dressed professionally, at least start, right? So, all business is personal. It's about relationships. You take care of grandma's family when they're dealing with their estate and grandma died and they're emotional and, oh my God, the world's falling apart. And Pete, don't sell this because it's really important. This is, this is the China hush that my grandpa made. Your grandpa was a really lousy carpenter, but it's important to you, right? If you can build those relationships, they're doing business with you because they like and trust you, not because you're a good auctioneer. Now, if you're a good auctioneer and they like and trust you, who's got the business? And then you prove to them that you're a good auctioneer, then what happens?
They refer you.
They refer you, you become their hero. 95% of my business is referral. Just flat out. I don't advertise anymore. I don't need to. Business is coming in the door because somebody down the street said you need to go call Rich. You know what my business plan is? It's called I Know a Guy. I'm serious. That's my business plan. I want people to say, hey, you need something sold or appraised, I know a guy called Rich. And that's how I make my money. But you don't get that way without building relationships. Would you agree? Build relationships. All business is personal. Make connections. Network. Chamber of Commerce, fantastic place to network, get people to know you. Chamber of Commerce is one of the cheapest investments for your future you can make outside of your associations, right? And then I want you to do this. This is something most salespeople fail to do. They don't ask. As a salesperson, Todd, what are we supposed to be asking for? How can I help you? What else? Ask for the sale, we forget to do that. I'm such a wonderful auctioneer and I won this award, I'm a champion, I did this, and I walk away and they're like, dude never asked me if I wanted to do business with him. Salespeople suck at asking for the sale. Don't suck. Ask. Ask for the sale, ask for the referral, ask how we can solve your problem. Ask who do you know that might be able to use my services. Here's one. What can I do for you even if you don't need me as an auctioneer? Is there another service I can make a referral to you for? I have my carpenters and my roofers and my plumbers and my electricians. What do you need? Call me. I don't care what you need. Call me. I'll figure it out. I know somebody who knows somebody. That whole 6 degrees of separation. I have people calling me all the time saying, hey, Rich, you know a good auto mechanic? Yeah. Well, why don't they just look for auto mechanics? Because they know me and they trust me and they know I will find them business. That works 2 ways. I look for people who need my friends and other businesses and I make referrals. So what are they going to do when they find people who need me?
Return the favor.
They're going to return the favor. Ask, 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 ask. It's all personal. Y'all with me on this? Say yes, Rich.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
There you go. I just want to make sure you're awake, okay? Why do people need to use auctioneers? What's the benefit?
Quick sale.
Quick sale. You guys can cheat. I put it up on the screen. It's in your notebooks. Why do people need auctioneers? What's the great benefit of using an auction? Sense of urgency. Well, what's that sense of urgency?
They
I
need
got to
it.
get it done now. It's going to be done quick.
They need it going.
When you sell something at auction, what's in the buyer's mind?
Make money.
Well, the buyer's mind. Cheap may be, but if I don't buy it now, what happens?
It's gonna get
Let's
bought.
go on. It's gonna sell. If I go to auction, I know somebody's gonna buy it. I want it to be me. So one of the things we sell as a benefit of what we do is there's a sense of urgency. Real estate, who's my brokers in here? I got a couple of you. When you put something on the MLS, when's it gonna sell?
Hope immediately.
Hopefully, in this market, yeah, you know, it's before I hit publish, it's sold, right? Yeah, that's gonna go away.
Yeah, I've been there before.
You know, so in the real estate world, when you put something on the market in the MLS, the multiple listing service, it sells whenever. It might sell tomorrow in this market. In other markets, it may be on the market for 2 years before somebody shows interest. When you conduct an auction, when's that item gonna sell? The day of the auction. We know exactly when it's gonna sell. We have a certainty because we're telling you we're gonna sell this on this date. So your buyers know it's gonna sell on that date. They come prepared to do what? Buy, right? So that date certainty is important. Bidders are prepared. Now this next one depends upon your business model. As an auctioneer, my firm does most of the work. You got an estate to sell, give me the key. We'll go in, we'll organize it, we'll inventory it. If we're doing a live auction, we'll bring the bidders out. If we're doing a live or an online auction, we're going to do the catalog, set up the websites. We do everything. Well, what do I need to do as a seller? Give me the key and get out of the way. I'll take care of all of it. That's my company service. What's so great about that level of service?
Full service.
It's full service, and my sellers don't have to worry about anything. Well, what about, this house has hardwood floor. I'll put some cardboard down on the floors and runners so we don't have to scratch the floors. I don't want anybody parking on the lawn. Okay, so I'll put some rope up around the lawn and I'll put somebody outside to make sure they don't park on your lawn. What else you got, right? Whatever problem or concern they have, I can find an answer for. That full service means they can just trust me and walk away. This is something nice too that we do in our industry that nobody else does, competition. People don't buy things at auction. What happens? How do they get them? If you're bidding on something and you outbid everybody, what have you just done?
Hey,
You just know, single word, you won.
oh, okay.
Auctions are a competition, which means ego. You won the bid. People don't buy at auction, they win. And this is the nice thing about our industry. This is one of the tactics I use. I start everything I sell at a low price. Oftentimes, even if it's an expensive item, I start the bidding at $5. Why would I do that?
To get more people bidding.
You get more people bidding. There's a psychology here, right? If I put a bid on something for $5 and you bid 10, what's my next reaction?
50.
Oh, no, you don't. I'm in at 15. Next thing you know, we're both at 500, and I've long passed that $5 entry, but now I have a vested interest in winning, don't I? I want to remove barriers from bidding. I want my bidders to jump in early so that they keep fighting each other. And after a while, it's like, well, you know what? It don't matter what the value is at this point. I'm not letting that other guy get it. Ego, competition. We have that in our industry that nobody else does. In the auction industry, when I do a sale, I can sell or pay my sellers fairly quickly. Which means instead of you spending all month or all year, one item at a time on Craigslist or eBay or the neighborhood apps, I'll get your whole estate sold, cleaned out, house empty, and give you a check, and we're done in 3 weeks. Does that sound good to you? Yeah. That's very appealing, so I like that. I'm going to bring you market value. People don't understand this concept. What's something worth?
What someone will pay for
What
it.
somebody's willing to pay for you. So if you put things on eBay or Craigslist, you're going to come up with a price, right? Is that the right price? How do you know? If it sits there for a month and nobody offers you anything, you probably overpriced it. Right? What if you underprice it? It's gone and you lose the money, right? Okay, oh, you're going to give me $30 for that? I'll take it. Well, I could have got you $300 at auction, right? You don't know. It's going to sell for the highest price because people are interested in it. Competition's going to bring the price up. We sell at market value. And here's the thing too. My business, your business, we can adjust what we do based on the client's needs. Is that true? Does that make sense? Client doesn't give two hoots about what the stuff is worth. Do you think that's a realistic statement? Are there clients out there that don't care about the price?
No.
Yeah, all the time. What do they care about? Getting it done. You know, I work for landlords. I work for, the state, or I work for commercial brokers who have a property to lease. I don't care if that stuff brings $5 or $500,000. Get it out, because on the first of the month, I'm putting a new tenant in there. Can you get it out for me? Yeah. Well, if you don't care about price, then my commission just went out. Side note too, he who speaks first in a negotiation loses. How much are you going to charge me? What did you budget for? How much do you think the auction should be? Well, I was willing to pay you 30%. Well, hell, I was willing to do it for 10. So I tell you what I'm going to do. Today only I'll do it for 40. That's how it works, right? So does this make sense to you? All this stuff? You're the auctioneer. You need to master this, because when you go talk to potential sellers, you need to be able to tell them there's all the benefits of hiring an auctioneer rather than doing an estate sale, or rather than doing it yourself. Make sense? You with me?
Yes, sir.
I'm worried because this is post-lunch carbohydrate coma. So I want to make sure you're all still with me, okay? So getting the deal. Here's something that's very important. When you go talk to a potential seller and you want them to sign a contract with you, remember this very first statement, because this ain't about you. I'm a champion auctioneer. Champion 2 times over in Colorado. Do they care? It's what can I solve for them? So the first thing to remember, it's not about me, it's about them. I want you to listen to what they have to say. What are their concerns? You're dealing with grandma's estate. Do they care about the value on some of those things? Yeah, probably, but they probably care about the value on certain things. They have no idea what the rest of it's worth. They care about things like, please don't damage the house. Or this was my great-great-great-grandmother's dining room table. We want to make sure it's taken care of. Okay. Well, put pads on it, I'll protect it. Find out what they have to say. And then ask probing questions. Follow up. When they give you something that's kind of interesting, ask them a follow-up question. Why? What about that dresser? What about your concerns about the yard? What are your concerns about us using the restroom? Tell me about that, and we'll find a way around it. I'm going to give you some police inside information. I spent 3 days in interrogation school. How to get information out of people who don't want to tell you things. My daughter, by the way, hated it when I graduated from school. She truly did. So here's a tactic we use. We'll ask a prisoner, or interrogator, or interrogatee, I guess, a suspect, a question. And then what do?
Shut up. Say no.
Stare at it.
Shut up.
Why?
So they can talk.
Why would they talk just because I shut up?
Because it's awkward.
Silence is awkward, isn't it? And when you ask somebody a question, you let them answer, you don't say anything, they got to fill the void, so they give you more information. Some of that stuff, it was kind of nice with my daughter, because she was, preteen, teen at the time, and it was, I just stared at her, asked a question, he goes, you're doing that interrogation stuff on me. Okay, I did it. I'm like, I don't even know what you did, but you just confessed to it, so cool, that works for me. Right? Same thing when you're talking about clients. Stop talking, let them talk. This isn't about you, it's about them. Well, you find out that they're really, really concerned about the house being treated well because that's where they grew up. And that's where their kids grew up, right? They don't care about the money, they care about the house. So what does that tell you? What services do you need to provide?
Take care of that.
We're gonna take care of the house, we're gonna protect it, we may put runners down. If they don't care about the money, I'm not worried about that, now my commission just went up, by the way, right? And not that I'm taking advantage of them, but if their concern is all these other services, well, I'm gonna pay more to provide all these other services. Am I not entitled to compensation? They don't care about the profit, I understand that. They may not. Let them tell you what they need, and then find a way to solve the problem. I have a business broker who says, I've got a place that I need emptied in 5 days. Can you do an auction within 5 days?
No, you could.
You could. Are they gonna make any money? No. Well, if their concern is money, I might tell them that I'm gonna need more than 5 days, right? Or I'm gonna need to move the stuff out of the facility and then sell it later, which I can do. Am I gonna charge them a fee to do that? Yeah, it's expensive to move stuff. And then I will have the place to put it. But if their concern is get it out in 5 days, I've got a couple options. I can move it, I can do a really fast auction. Tell you what, I'll just buy it from you. I'll do a buyout.
And then sell
I'll-
it yourself.
Hmm?
And then sell it
Yeah,
for.
now I own it, I can sell it at my convenience, make whatever money I can. But what's their concern? What problem do they need solved?
Out here.
It's gotta be gone. Well, if I get it gone for them and I solve the problem, is that not what they're looking for?
Yes.
So money becomes what? Irrelevant to them at that point, clean it out. They may be willing to, and I've had this happen, I had to clean out an office building. They paid me thousands of dollars to get their stuff out, only for me to turn around and sell a bunch of it. Who made the money when I sold it?
You.
I did. What was their concern? Get it out. So you have to figure out what their problems are so that you can solve them. And I want you to understand this, we talk about relationships, and it says in the handout that this quote is unknown. It's actually Maya Angelou who said this. But people may not remember exactly what you did or what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And if they trust you and they like you and you solve their problem, how do they feel?
Good.
They feel good, they feel important, they feel recognized. None of these, I don't care who I'm dealing with, it's never a business transaction. I'm a person. I have a personal relationship with that banker that calls me and says, hey, Rich, I need you to go out and do these appraisals. I go down once a year or twice a year and buy him coffee or take him to lunch, or I make sure once a quarter his secretary, his assistants get some donuts or some flowers. I want them to feel good. I want them to remember me as a person, not as their auctioneer or their appraiser. So here's where we get into it. First question I get a lot when people call me about my services is, what do you charge? How much? How much should you charge somebody to do an estate auction?
What is that?
You guys have the right question. You're looking at me like, I don't know. I don't know enough
What do you
information.
need?
What do you need? What has to be sold? Who's going to buy this stuff? How much work do I need to put into it? I have a pretty good idea where my commission's going to fall, but that changes based on each individual project, right? There are some times if I charge a 10% commission, I can make a ton of money. If I'm moving yellow iron at $50, $60, $70, $100,000 a piece, 10% is good money, isn't it? If I'm moving an estate and that estate brings a whopping $3,706, 10%, that doesn't even pay for my fuel to get there. So you have to know what you're selling, who the audience is, what your client's concerns are, because everything they ask you to do is going to cost you money, right? Well, how much do I need to put into it versus how much am I going to get out? You need to master this. Yes, sir.
Let me ask that question. So now, like on an estate, $3,700, that's all you make. How are you making your money? Where are you making the money at?
What if I charge them a service fee for my labor? What if I charge a 50% commission and I charge a 15% buyer's premium? So I've now got 65% plus 500 in labor on that 3,700 cents. What's 50% of 3,700? Do math, get your calculator. 1750, right? Add 15% to that, so I'm making about $1,900, plus I'm charging $400 in labor. So now I'm making what, $2,300? I send a crew over there, they're done in one day. I send a crew over for pickup, they're done in one day. I've got a total of this much labor into it, and I made $1,800. So my net profit is what, $1,000? Do that all day long. Now, I'd rather do the bigger sales, but I can make money doing that. Now, tied to that I provide real estate services, I might get the house to sell too. So that $1,700, $1,800 profit might turn into a $500,000 shed. It might not. But I tell you, when I do that auction and I do a great job, they're telling everybody. And I'm sending a postcard to all the neighbors saying, hey, look what I just did for your neighbor. Who knows? Are you going to do it for 15%? No. But you need to know these numbers, and that's what we're going to talk about in just a minute. So you have to understand your client's concerns. You have to calculate your cost. Guys, if you don't master your cost on this, you're out of business. Everything you do costs you money. You need to know how much money it's costing you so you know how much you need to charge. And I think if we can, Miss Red, can we pull up that spreadsheet?
Yeah, are you ready?
I think I'm ready. So I want to explain something to you. What we're about to do, I'm going to give you a spreadsheet, and you're all going to get a copy of this. It's an Excel spreadsheet. The formulas are locked, so you can't screw with it, I hope. I hope. But this is a job costing spreadsheet so that you can understand if I spend X amount and I charge X amount, here's how much is left over. It's a tool for you. I'm going to show you how to use the tool, but I need somebody here who's fairly good at adding and subtracting and multiplying that can be my scribe. Who wants to volunteer? We have a volunteer, so thank you. So it seems none of you really have a lot of experience in estate auctions. Okay, good, and this will be fair for all of us. Family calls me and says grandma died. Poor grandma, I kill grandma every session. This poor woman, right? Like I heard that, there's somebody that gets stabbed every 32 minutes in London. That poor guy, every 30 minutes getting stabbed. So, we're going to talk about grandma's estate. We're going to talk about, they've asked you as an auctioneer to come in and do an estate sale. I want you all for a minute to pretend you're estate auctioneers and figure out how to do this. Can we do that?
Yes.
So, grandma's got a little 3-bed, 2-bath in town. She's been there for 60 years. Pretty much assured she doesn't have the newest, greatest technology. And I would imagine most of her furniture isn't new. I would also imagine that half of it for the entire 70s decade had plastic covering on it, right? That squeaked and stuck to you. Yeah. So now you're thinking about grandma's estate. We're going to sell 3 bedrooms worth of furniture. We're going to sell the stuff that's in the garage. Probably have a lawnmower, a couple of yard tools. Guarantee you there's a collection of Bradford knit something in this house, right? We got the old Afghans and we got the old quilts. So we're selling everything in the home. How much do you think everything in that house will bring at an auction? How much? 5,000. How many thinks that's low? How many think that's high? How many think that sounds, it's about right.
That's right.
Let's go with 5. It's a nice round number. I like that. $5,000. Odds are it won't bring more than that. Okay? 5,000 is probably good on a typical 3-bed, 2-bath estate. Because brown, big furniture that's been around for 50 years, nobody wants. What do people want now in furniture?
White.
White and IKEA.
Or mid-century modern.
Yeah.
Mid-century
Thinking more
modern
like
has to
restoration
value if it's in
hardware,
good
but-
condition, right? So, and we'll get to the spreadsheet in just a minute. So here's our number. Would you write down $5,000? Okay? So now that's the easy part. We figured out that everything in this house is going to bring $5,000. Not a lot of money, but their alternative is donate it, give it away, or try to sell it one piece at a time. They want you to sell it because they don't want what?
Johnny Cash.
They don't want to deal with it. Most of the time I do probate work, the family's out of town. They don't even want to come. They'll send me the key and say, just go. So let's say it brings $5,000. We're going to do a live auction. I remember live auctions, right? That's when somebody's actually standing there calling bid. What do we need to do to get ready to sell this entire house worth of stuff?
Catalog or inventory.
Well, before we even inventory, what do we need to do?
Look at it.
We got to look it all over. We
Yeah,
got to sort
appraisal.
through it. We got to figure out what's in the house. We got to pull stuff out of shelves, figure out this stuff is donate, this stuff is trash,
Spread it out.
figure it out, lay it all out, get ready before we can even catalog, right? How long does it take to do that?
Depends on how.
Are you doing it by yourself or do you have help?
Excellent question. Let's assume I'm not going to do it by myself because this boy's too old and feeble to be moving stuff around, right? So I'm going to bring a crew. Typical setup crew for me is 4 people. How much does it cost for us to spend a day with 4 people getting things sorted through and organized?
$1,000.
$600.
Well, let's work at the beginning. How much am I
Let's say,
paying?
how much are you paying per person?
There you go. In my market,
You pay
McDonald's starting pay is 18 an hour. So my pay rate starts around 18 for experienced people. I'm paying 20. If I'm paying 20 bucks an hour, what does it cost me?
I mean,
$200
is it an 8-hour day
No,
or?
no, 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 no. What's that $20 cost me? Well, probably closer to 30, right? Because I gotta pay taxes and social security and unemployment and workers' comp and
Yeah.
all the insurance that I gotta put on these people. So just for sake of argument now, let's just call the labor 20 bucks an hour. We good with that? It's easy
Right.
math.
Mhm.
So I got 4 people, 8 hours times 20, how much is that? How much, 640, is that what you're coming out with? So day one of labor is $640, right? Are we done?
No.
Day one is just setting everything up and getting it ready. We gotta go back and now tag and put catalogs together, right?
You have to do 50% more than that, so it becomes.
Well, I'll get to that. I'll show you where you can account for the overhead. So my direct cost right now, at 20 bucks an hour, we've already spent $640, right? Now, I love this because when I usually teach the class, I've had students go, I'm gonna do estate auctions for 10%. Wow, good for you. $5,000 auction at 10% makes you how much money? What
$500.
did we just spend?
640. You're
I'm already in the hole,
You're in the
140 bucks. This math ain't working for me, guys, right? So we're at 640 for day one. Now, day two, we're gonna go back and we're gonna either put labels or lot tags on it. We're gonna put a catalog together. For a live auction, I don't spend nearly as much time cataloging as I do for an online auction, because people can come and see and we can hold it up and go, yeah, you're gonna buy this Yeti cup and it's silver and it's cold. And somehow it's smart enough to know what's hot and what's cold because it keeps them cold. Right? So, you know, at a live auction, we don't have to do as much cataloging, but we still have to make a list of everything, get the house ready, get prepared. So you're probably gonna spend 2 days with a team of 4 getting this house ready for auction. So now we spent $640 the first day. How much did we spend the second day? $640. How much are we up to? $1,280. Well, we're doing it for 10%, so we got $500. We spent $1,280. Not working for me. Are we done?
No.
We haven't had an auction yet, have we? What do we need to do on auction day? What kind of people do we need to have?
Buyers.
Well, forget the buyers. I'm
You
talking,
have
who
to have
we gotta pay
you have
for?
like a clerk?
We gotta pay for a clerk, right?
Right.
So we have one employee, it's a clerk.
Ring guy,
Say that again?
ring guy.
We probably need a ring person. Ringman, it's appropriate to say ringman, it's not sexist, that's the term. So, cashier, gotta have an auctioneer. And I tell you something, if you're running the business, the auctioneer's not you. I can't manage a sale and be on the microphone at the same time, those are 2 separate roles. Can't do both. So we've got a cashier, we've got a clerk, we've got a ring person, we've got an auctioneer, is that enough to run the sale? Probably need a second person there somewhere, another person to back up, because your clerk at some point is gonna go to the bathroom. Or your auctioneer, your ringman. And if you only have one cashier, you're gonna have a line wrapped around the street. So you probably need another cashier. We've got 6 people at 20 bucks an hour, and I'm being nice. All right? How long are they gonna be there
You're
on auction day?
all day, right?
All day. What time are they gonna show up?
It's 9:60.
You're a dreamer.
Well, you said 6 people at $20 an
Yeah,
hour?
no, I'm talking about when they're gonna show up. I thought you said 9 o'clock. My
No,
apologies.
sorry.
What time is your crew gonna show up on auction day?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. or earlier. When are they gonna leave?
7 p.m.
10 o'clock.
Probably.
Whenever it ends.
When it ends, you're probably looking at 7 or 8 o'clock. So you've got 6 people times
12 hours.
12 hours times $20.
Yeah.
Ooh, how much
14.
total are we at now?
1440 plus
Oh,
640.
she's tracking it. We're at $2,700 in costs just to run the auction. Are we done yet?
No, don't you have to pack it up the next
Yeah.
day or something?
We need people to remove, we need people to take everything out. The day of sale, I'm probably gonna have somebody other than those 6, because we're gonna need people to help load, we're gonna need people to watch for security. We may need somebody to direct traffic. I'm probably looking at a live auction to crew 10 people instead of 6. So what's 10 people times $20 times 12 hours? 2,400?
Yeah, 24.
I'm an auctioneer, I call them.
2,400. 2,400.
So we have another 2,400. So we have day 1 of setup, we have day 2 setup, we have day of auction sales. What's our total now for everything?
Oh, you're over.
Everything.
Just over 4,000.
No more meat on
Oh, you're almost
There's
at,
no meat on the bone, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend $4,000 to do a $5,000 sale, does that make sense?
no.
We're over 5,000.
Yeah, you're over
right?
it.
So you're not gonna want that job.
We're not done yet, right? Because
Yeah.
after the sale, I'll probably need to send a crew back over to do some cleanup, a couple of hours, right? Take all our tables back, break the tents down if we have them. I'm gonna have to have somebody in my office running all the numbers, doing all the invoicing, writing all the checks. I've got more hours into it than just that. Do I have any other expenses besides my people?
Advertising? You have to pay
Yeah.
yourself. Advertising?
Advertising, well, let me tell you, I'm gonna put advertising separate, here's why. Most auctioneers are gonna create an advertising budget, and we usually transfer that to the seller. I'm gonna charge you $400 for advertising. You're gonna write me that check for 400, and I'm gonna send it to wherever I advertise. So that's usually a pass-through. So for now, don't include advertising, because that's not your expense, that's their expense. Now, if you choose to pay it for them, that becomes your expense. Yes, sir?
I bet if you break something,
Say that again?
I bet if you break something,
If I break something, I bought it.
well, I mean, what do you buy it for?
This is gonna be in your contract, it'll be damaged, whatever the appraised value is.
Mhm.
Who's the appraiser? Well, I could, but I don't think that's fair to the client. We're gonna have somebody else appraise it. Fortunately, things don't break very often, and it's not that big of a deal, but you need to be prepared for it. You're helping somebody move a couch outside the living room, and they accidentally run it through the living room window.
Mhm.
Who bought that window?
You did.
I did until I can collect from the buyer, so. But, good point, we might have other expenses. So we have some damages we may have to spend money on. What else? Audio, those things aren't cheap. So I buy one of those once, do I put that $2,000 expense against one auction?
No.
I amortize it, so I may spend $10 every time I do an auction to pay for that, or 20 or 50. Same thing with my software and my computers and my printer, that all costs money, doesn't it? So what I do, and every auctioneer is different on this point, is I create an overhead formula that here's what I spend year-round for a year on all my other expenses. That could be my trucks, could be my insurance, it could be my fuel, it could be my office rent, it could be whatever. Here's what all the expenses are. I do 140 auctions a year, I take that number, divide it by 140, and then I have an overhead cost that I put on each auction. Is it necessarily accurate? No, but it's a pretty good idea that I'm gonna spend some money. So you're gonna spend money on your people, you're gonna spend money on your equipment, you're gonna spend money on your overhead, you're gonna spend money on your insurance, your taxes, your rent. All those things we have to figure out. Do you think I'm close to $5,000 in expenses to do this auction?
You are.
Is this auction worth it?
No.
If I made 100% commission, is the auction worth it? No, because there's nothing left. That's when you look at it and go, yeah, I don't think so. Fortunately, you can bring some of those costs down and you might make more money. You can charge a buyer's premium, you can charge a labor cost. I often give my clients two choices. Here's a straight commission, you can pay me 60%. Or you can pay me 50% and give me $750 upfront labor. Okay, I'll do that, that's cheaper. Well, not if you lay out the numbers, but okay, right? So here's the point. Auctions are expensive to conduct. I don't do live auctions anymore. Everything I do is 100% online. I still need to send a crew to set everything up. In fact, it usually takes a little bit longer to set up than I would for a live auction, but then I'm pretty much done. The computer does all the work for me. All I need to do is send 2 or 3 people for pickup. So I can operate the auction cheaper online than I can live. With an online audience, I also have a bigger audience, which means more people competing against each other, doing what?
Bidding.
Bidding higher and higher, it's driving the price up. That $5,000 live auction might bring me 8 or 10 online. We're starting to see some different numbers here, aren't we? Yes, sir.
With an online auction, do you have a day where people can come and look at the
I used to.
stuff they did before?
So preview.
Preview.
If I'm selling yellow, you guys all heard the term yellow iron? Caterpillars, construction equipment, yellow paint, right? So that's yellow iron. I don't care if it's yellow or blue or green or Kubota orange, it's still yellow iron. If I'm selling big pieces of equipment that somebody's gonna come spend $50,000 on, hell yeah, come on, I'll let you fire it up, kick the tire, do whatever. I'm selling Tupperware in somebody's kitchen, buy it off the pictures and the description, but you have to have really good descriptions. I'll show you my website a little bit later before we're done. So Do I let people do previews? I used to. I don't. I do selling for a lot of municipalities where we're selling police cars and fire trucks. And you guys want to do a preview, it'll be by appointment. The interested buyer can call the representative from the agency and they can go pick a time to go look at the equipment. I don't do the previews. I do the pickups. So I cut my labor costs. So online's a way to go. I'm not telling you it's the way to go. It's working for me and it's very popular these days. With COVID, we had no choice. When COVID came out, we weren't allowed to be in business unless we did it remotely. So online was the only way. So I'm going to get you guys, yes sir.
I've got a bad question, I think I know the answer. On your online auctions, you have to pay with credit card? On your online auction, do you pay with credit card?
Yes. Yes. And is there a risk? Yeah. But do it to me once, you'll never bid again.
My boss had somebody
Yeah.
charge him back on a credit card.
Yeah, I had the charge back on my appraisal this
Yeah.
week. So does it happen? Yes. It happens about this percentage of the time. It's cost of doing business at this point. If it's a big one, then I'll go after them legally. Most of the time, my credit card, bad credit cards, it's a $30 charge and they never show up to pick up their stuff. So I've still got the stuff.
And how much do you ship?
Right now, I'm shipping about 30%.
And is that, you find that to be a big labor cost for you, or no?
It is, but I can charge enough on the shipping to not only pay my labor, but make a profit. Good side note here is if you offer shipping, that means more people are interested in bidding and they'll spend more. If you don't offer shipping, you're not making as much money. If you do offer shipping, it's a pain in the butt, but it adds to your profit. Food for thought. Okay. Questions so far? You guys are with me? Yes, sir.
So is a good option for like an estate where maybe you would bring the estate back to you just buy the estate and bring it back and then do like 4 or 5 estates together?
You can, that's a business model that some use. My entire facility is about the size of this room. I can't bring stuff back. I have a small storage center. So the only things I'm bringing back are small enough to put in a small box to ship, otherwise I can't do it. If I do a buyout, it's got to be a huge profit margin because I still got to spend the labor to go get it, pack it, bring it back and then unpack it and then sell it and then pack it until they come get it. So for me to do a buyout's expensive, not always worth my time. I've done small buyouts. I'll do buyouts on firearms, on jewelry, coin, because I can put that stuff in a safe and there's no labor and there's good profit. But typically I'm working on a commission and I'll offer my customers, well, do you want me to buy it from you? Here's the money. Well, that's pretty low, yeah, because I got to make a profit. Or I'll sell it at a commission and you take the risk. So different ways of doing it. Yes, sir.
How do you do the shipping? Do you charge the cost of the shipping and then add something to it, or?
I use a service called Shipping Saint, which is just a software package that's designed for auctioneers. And it'll calculate, here's the time you spent packing it, so your labor cost. Here's the packaging materials that you use, so you have a product cost, and here's your profit margin. I want to make 25% or more in all my shipping, it calculates all that. So, good questions. You with me? Everybody stand up. On your feet. At some point during this week, Mr. Jones, because I know Mr. Jones, is going to tell you about stretching, and he's going to ask you to put your hands way up high in the sky, and when he does this, I want you all to do the following. Bow forward and go, all hail Mike Jones. All hail Mike Jones. And he will instantly be mad at me. So, all right, have a seat. I just wanted to make sure you're all still awake. Okay. So, Lori is going to email you this spreadsheet that I'm going to show you. And it is a tool and just a tool. It's not the end all be all. It's not the, gee, if I have this, I'm going to make $1 million. But it is going to help you understand some of the numbers. Can you guys in the back row see that? You're going to get it. So I'm going to add some numbers here so we can start playing. This is just a job cost estimator. All it does is help you put some numbers on cost versus potential profit. Helps you figure out if I want to make this much money and this is what it's going to cost me, well, here's what my commission has to be. Let me ask you guys this before I fill it out. You do your first auction, first one. What would you consider to be a good profit on your first auction?
$1,000.
$1,000? Experience? You get your first estate sale and you end everything, you put $150 in your pocket. Is that a good day?
Yeah.
That's your very first professional auction. You made $150. You're looking at me like I'm out of my flipping mind.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, as an estate auctioneer, if your first auction makes you money, that's a damn good auction. If it's your fifth auction, is $150 good money? No. You know, I look at things based on, here's what my net profit has to be, here's how much profit I have to make each week to keep the business open. $150 ain't gonna cut it. But when I started out, I was happy not to lose money. My father-in-law started the business. Ray started the company back in the early 80s, and he was telling me a story about doing this great sale. And he had all this money that he was gonna make on it, and he was gonna sell all this merchandise. And he put the contract together, and he charged the client the commission, and he finished everything up and wrote his checks for the marketing, and he's like, oh crap, the marketing. So he made about $800 on the auction and spent 16 on the marketing. Oops. Cost him $800 to run that auction. Was it a good auction?
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
No.
Once? Yeah.
Tuition.
Twice? That was an $800 lesson he paid himself, right?
Sure.
I don't want you guys to do that, so we're gonna give you some information here. So on this spreadsheet, I've already got it filled in, it's Grandma's estate, and look at that, Lori's already got today's date in here. You guys said that we think this auction might do $5,000, right? Might it do 4,000? Possible? Well, we're gonna look at that. On a bad day, if you're good at this job, you can come up with these numbers pretty good. I've been selling restaurants for the past 12, 15 years, however long I've been in this business. I know that that deep fryer is gonna bring between $175 and $200. Guarantee it. It might bring 205, it might bring 170, but it's gonna hit that 175, 200 range. I know what my things are gonna sell for down to the penny. Makes this real easy. When I first started doing estates, I didn't have a clue. That couch is gonna bring $500. No, it brought $15. Oops. You know, that dining room table is gonna bring 20. No, it brought 100. Oops. You'll get better at this as you do things. So on the low end, this auction might bring 4, right? What am I doing here?
So is there a time when you go and meet Granny and you say, hey, Granny?
Granny's dead.
You meet Granny's family and you go, hey, this isn't worth my time or your
Yeah,
time.
and that happens frequently.
Yeah.
So, and good question, I'll give a couple options. Do you want to donate this stuff? Do you need me to collect everything, put it in a truck and take a donation? Here's my fee. Do you need me to get a 30-yard dumpster and toss it?
Take the tax route.
You know, and sometimes we'll go through the estate and I said, tell you what, I'm going to sell just this portion of the estate because there's value and the rest of it you can deal with and here's my commission. So again, every one of these situations is different. What do they need?
Flexible.
What do they need? You know, and now if I get the possibility to sell the real estate, and here's a nice selling point for me is, if you let me sell the real estate, I'll take care of all this, you don't have to worry about it, I won't charge you a penny. Because I'm gonna make my money on your $500,000 piece of land. So what if it cost me $1,000 in labor to get rid of everything? I sold the house, right? So, different ways to looking at it. So Granny died, we got a 3-bed, 2-bath. We said it was gonna bring 5, it might bring 4, but what if we're having a good day and it brings 7,500 instead of 5,000? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So we're gonna take a look at these numbers and figure out what we have to do. I've got this set up to do live auctions. So inventory would be really the first day, and we came up with first day of labor was how much? She left.
640.
640. How many hours was that? Well, 640 would be 32 hours, right?
1280 is what she's got written here.
Okay, so let's see if I can come up with the math. I've got this all set at 16 an hour, so numbers are going to be a little bit off. Let me see what I have up here. Fix that. How many hours did we say? So first day we had 8 times 4 times,
Yeah.
20 hours,
32 hours the first day.
640 times 2.
Another 32 hours the second day. You guys looking at the labor cost here, that's really, change that. Okay, so day of sale cost, this is where we had the ringman and the clerk and the cashier. 10 people times 12 hours, is that right? Is that what we came up with? I think we said 6 people, right?
6 people. 960.
Well, no, I need hours, not numbers.
Oh.
So I can't do that kind of math in my head. 6 times 10 is 60, so we had what?
6 times 12 is 72.
72 hours. Whoa, we got removal cost if it's the day after, so I'm just gonna put in another 16 hours there, we'll call it cheap. So on this $4,000 sale, I've spent $3,040. making zero profit and not counting for my overhead. Is this a good sale? Sucks, right? So, we're not done yet, because I'm probably I gotta feed my crew. I don't know about you guys, but my crew eat like pigs. So I find the cheapest, nastiest pizza I can find, let them have as much as they want. So I'm gonna spend $100 on pizza, right? I'm probably gonna spend 50, in these days, it's probably gonna cost me 50 or 75 bucks in fuel back and forth, running all my equipment and stuff. And then I don't care how good of an auctioneer you are, something's gonna happen that's gonna cost you money the day of sale. You run out of batteries, your printer dies, you gotta run to Walmart and go buy a $90 printer. There's always something that you can't plan for. So I always put down a little cushion here. Look at that. I'm gonna do a $4,000 auction and it's costing me $3,300, $3,290. Well, let's go down a little bit. What did we say was a good profit? This is your first sale. You guys okay? 150 bucks profit your first day? You're not. Eric's greedy. I like Eric.
No.
What do you need? We need 500 bucks? First auction, you make 500 bucks, not lose 500 bucks. You make 500 bucks. Let's scroll down here. In order to make 500 bucks, we need to know we need to be way over 50%, right? So I'm gonna put in, let's put in 80%. Not gonna happen. So I want you to look at these numbers. Let's go up top. Low end, 4,000. High end, 7,500, right? So if it's a good auction, we'll do 7,500. If we have a bad day, it's only gonna bring 4,000. If I'm charging 80% at that low end, if it only brings 4,000, at 80%, I've lost 100 bucks. Is that a good day?
No.
No. What if it does bring 7,500? At 80% of 7,500, I've made $2,700. Is that a good day? That's a very good day. Odds are you're gonna come in somewhere in between. So this sheet is designed to help you understand where the profit is and where the loss is. So I'm gonna make it a little bit different. I'm not gonna sell Granny's estate. I'm gonna go sell the machine shop down the street. Okay? They do brake lathes, and they have mills, and they have bandsaws, and they have sand, and they have all this equipment. And I'll bet you that same little machine shop, instead of bringing $4,000,
Zero.
is gonna bring 40,000. That reasonable? Shop full of mechanical equipment? Heck yeah. On a good day, it might bring us $75,000. Now, if I wanna make $500 profit, I look down here on the left side. Where's my 500? It's between 9 and 10%. Look at that. So if I'm now doing the same setup, same labor, all the same people to set up the auction, all the same people to run the auction, all the same people to break down the auction, I'm still paying the same rate, right? But now I'm making that much more money. So if this sale does $40,000, I charge 9.5%, I've made my $500 profit. That's on the low end. Let's say the auction brings 75,000, how much money have I made? $3,800. This tool just kind of helps you on the low end and the high end figure out where you want to be. Quite frankly, if I'm going to do an estate sale, I'm going to be charging in that 80% range plus fees up front from the client. So I may get some labor from them. So I may end up with a lower operating cost because they're paying me for some of that. Marketing's not in because marketing's passed through, right? So here's on this end. Now let's take a look at this. What if that client on a machine shop, and I'm doing my negotiation because Rich is good at negotiation, and we start talking about what he thinks it's going to bring and what it's going to cost, and he's going to say, well, what's your commission? My first question is going to be, what did you budget? What were you planning to spend for the auctioneer? And that person looks at me and goes, I was planning on not spending a penny more than 30%.
Okay, deal.
No.
No.
No, because I would look and go, 30% is kind of low, you know. I was thinking closer to 45. Would you do 35% for me? What are they going to say? Probably sure.
Have your
Let's
own-
do it
have
for
your own
35%. So let's go change that 9.5 to 35. How much money did I just make if it's a crappy sale? 10,000 in profit. What if it's a good sale? There's money out there. You just need to learn what's it going to cost me to do the auction versus what I can get when I charge my commission. Don't be cocky and have your commission in your head first until you go out there to see what you're dealing with. you might get to that estate and go, it's gonna bring $4,000, it's gonna cost me $5,000, I'm not in a charity business, no, I'm not gonna do the estate.
Would this still be live or would it be on?
This will still be live, online's not gonna change a lot.
What would you, any idea how to put the buyer's premium?
Good question, the question was buyer's premium. My company charges 15% buyer's premium, across the board, I don't care what I'm selling.
Where would you put that in?
Doesn't matter, it's in that 35%.
Whatever, okay.
So I'm charging a total of 35%, which in this case, I can tell the seller, listen, I'll do it to you for 20% because I'm gonna charge the buyers 15. My commission is 35% total.
Okay.
How much of that do you wanna pay? Seller's going, I don't wanna pay 35%. Well, fine, I'm gonna charge you 20 and then I'll charge 15 to the buyer. You okay with that? Of course. But I've had some sellers say, I don't want you to charge the buyer's premium. Well, then there's my commission. Yes, sir.
Can you just take that 35% that the seller's willing to give you for your commission and then put buyer's premium on it?
If I can get away with it, hell yeah, because that'll make this work.
I like the way you're thinking.
That'd be 50%.
So now it's 50% commission total, right? Look at the numbers up there.
Correct.
If that's a good auction, I'm making 50%. That's $34,000 profit in the sale. Can you get that? Sometimes. You ain't gonna get that on an estate sale.
On the estate sale, you said that you would have to have another auctioneer because you would be managing the auction.
Yeah.
What do you pay the auctioneer out of that?
Market's different. Most of the time, if I'm hiring an auctioneer to bid call, it's flat rate. Depends upon who I'm hiring and how good they are. You know, I'll pay $150 a day for some auctioneers. For other auctions, I'll pay $1,000. Really depends upon what I'm selling and who's hired. I'm not gonna bring in my A-based
Money.
5-star auctioneer to sell an estate. Person I'm bringing in to sell an estate is gonna be probably a newer auctioneer without a lot of experience, because I can pay them less. And then I'm there to handle any issues. So, you know, my wife and I, Shan and I run the business together, so often one of us serves as the auctioneer. I don't have to hire somebody. But still, it's easier for me to bring somebody in and let them take care of the microphone. I'll take care of the rest of the business. I'm there to serve the customer. So y'all get a sense of this spreadsheet, because you're gonna get this spreadsheet, and you can use this as a tool. Is this dead on accurate? No. Does it give you a range that you need to start thinking about? And you know that if I want to make, let's go back to our estate. Oops, wrong. I want that estate sale, and I think it's going to bring between 4,000 and 7,000. Now I can look down here and go at 50%, I'm losing money. If it does really well, I might make a little bit of money. So where do you cut? You can't charge anymore. So you cut costs. You need to figure out a way to do it cheaper. This is why I've gone online, because I eliminate those 72 hours. That becomes zero because I don't have a day of sale cost. Computer does all that for me. Now look at it. At 50%, I still make something. Still not a great money.
I got a question
Yes,
for you. You're touching on these estate sales. So we're gonna run an auction house
Mm-hmm.
and be a consignment auction. Do you have any percentage number? I have some numbers in my head, but I just kind of getting your opinion about what percentages you think a guy should run.
Well, understand this, every auction house is different, every circumstance is different. You're gonna find most auction houses charge somewhere between 30 and 60%.
Okay.
It costs you money to photograph, it costs you money to get things put away and taken out. What's your labor cost? We use a formula in our company of lots per hour. How many lots per hour could my crew put together, and then I know what it cost me to run the auction, add in my overhead. And then here's something else we're gonna get to, and I wanna go to this now, that when we take a look, oops, I gotta hit play. What?
Help.
I'm a Mac guy, so these PCs just drive me nuts. Anyhow, so I want to go here. Take a look at this one. We just calculated the cost, right? We all figured out what an auction cost us. Change what you're selling and you're going to change those numbers. Benefit auctions, none of this applies. We still have a cost though, right?
Yeah.
Our labor cost, our ringmen, whatever tools if we're bringing in the sound system. And if you're like most women auctioneers I know in my state, every auction requires a new outfit.
Correct.
Okay, so there's an expense there. Us guys, we're getting away with rental trucks, right? So actually, it's cheaper to own a
Yeah,
truck
just
if
buy
you can
it.
rent one
Yeah.
once. Right, I have several. So calculate your cost, we just did this. Now we need this next one, study the competition. So you can charge what the market will allow. If you're in a market where every other auction house is charging 35%, how much can you charge? You can charge more, but you're not gonna get away with 60, right? What does the market charge? There's 3 key auctioneers in the city of Denver. There's us, there's Roller, and there's Dick and Sheep. We've been around for years. In fact, our founders all worked together at one point, and they all went their separate ways. We're all friends. All of the companies are now taken over by second generation, so sons and daughters are running the company. My wife Shannon is the daughter of one of these auctioneers. We're all friends, but we're all competitors. We all compete for the state of Colorado Department of Revenue. Whenever they seize a business, they send out a bid and say whichever auctioneer bids the lowest gets the sale. So I need to figure out not only what can I earn, what do I have to spend, what's my competition going to do. I know my competitors, we've been doing this for a long time. After the bidding process is over, I see what they bid. There are some times when the state will come back out and say, you guys all tied. Somebody needs to move to get the sale. We're not talking like 10 or 15%. It's like, I'll bid 9.62%. And I'll be damned if Christine doesn't bid 9.62%. It's like, oh, come on. But we all know what the costs are. We all know what the stuff's going to
Yeah.
bring, so we're pretty competitive. Next question is, how bad do I want the auction? Well, to get the state sale, I'm going to have to come in under 9.6. How far under do I need to be? 9.5 will get me the sale. You know, and here's some other things to consider. State did a whole bunch of pizza restaurants in my town. You think I want them, the competition, getting to put their signs up in my town? I bid the sale probably 30% less than what I should have. But my signs were out in front of those buildings. The TV news stations interviewed me with my logo and my company name in the background, not them. So there was a value to that. You need to understand what your competition will do.
You said they know what your bid was and you knew what their bid was after the bid.
After. Once it's awarded, we can find out what the other companies bid.
Okay, that's good.
Some agents will, some agents won't, but, you know, you get to build a relationship, they'll tell you, yeah, you know, Eric, you bid 9.5, well, Christine bid 9.45. Dang it. Yes, sir.
But a situation like say, he has a consignment store,
Mhm.
and he goes into that estate where they're selling granny stuff, and it's only $5,000 worth of stuff, wouldn't he be better off to say, hey, why don't I write you a check for 5,000, take it down to my place, and here you go, and he takes it down there and.
For 5,000, hell no.
No,
So if
right.
this stuff's worth
Right.
5,000, I'm gonna offer you 500.
Exactly.
I'll give you $500 cash right now, I'll bring a truck up, I'll pack everything out of here and clear your house out.
Yeah.
I'm still not gonna make a lot of money, am I? Because I gotta pay the labor to move it, pack it, put it in my building, and then sell it and unpack it.
It
So-
seems to me like your consignment antique, where they have the little places.
They have a storefront.
Yeah, right, that'd be somebody that they'd take it there and, instead of having it auctioned off.
In Colorado Springs, that little storefront cost on an annual basis about $18 a square foot. You start adding in that cost and the cost to operate the building, and you get a lot of labor and expense in order to sell that dining room table. So everybody who's in business needs to understand how to cost versus revenue before they start doing business. What I hate is when I hear new auctioneers say, I'm gonna go do that for 30%. Run the numbers. That 30% is bankrupt you. Right? So that's why you got the spreadsheets. A couple other things I want to talk about, and we'll keep going. Number one is you need to understand what the competition will do. Here's something I want you to think about. How do you want to be known? Do you want to be known as the Walmart of the auction industry? Or the Neiman Marcus?
Even Marcus.
Wow, what's so great about Neiman Marcus? Seriously.
It's the quality.
Well, it's quality.
High-end
but
and more money.
More money. What's the perception in Neiman Marcus?
Save money there.
It's too expensive.
Well, you know, the nice thing when you do Walmart, since they don't train you as a checkout clerk, they can get mad when you don't scan everything, right? So Neiman
Yeah.
Marcus,
It's,
right? What's the reputation of Neiman Marcus?
Service.
Service.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
have
but
personal,
it's
you know
the
what a personal
service. You
shopper
go
is?
shopping and you get a personal shopper at Champagne.
And what's a personal shopper? It's somebody who works for the store that says,
Great.
I'm gonna pick out stuff that you wanna buy, and I'm gonna go through the racks so you don't have to, and I'm gonna look at the price tags and go, $200, $300, oh, $800, they wanna buy this. How do I know this? Shannon has a personal shopper. Rich goes to Kohl's and finds the clearance racks and buys his $8 shirt. Shannon gets her $800 dress because the personal shopper picked it up for her. Neiman Marcus is known for service. When you shop at Neiman Marcus, you don't shop price. I don't want my auction customers shopping price. I want them shopping service. I don't want to be known as the cheapest guy in town. In fact, when they say, listen, Rich, your competition said they do that for 20%, my response is usually, they know what they're worth. Because I'm not going to charge you 20%, I'm going to charge you 30 or 35 or 50, whatever it is, because I'm going to give you a level of service that's worth your investment. Other company wants to charge you less, go ahead. I'm going to provide you the service to make it worth your investment. Most of the time, they go with me. I don't want to be the cheapest. I want to be the most expensive. I'm the Cadillac. And if I don't get the business, what happens? So what? I'm not going to lose any sleep over it because there's another customer right behind it waiting for me. So am I proud of what I do? Yes. Will I give discounts and be competitive at times? Depends upon what I'm trying to accomplish, but I'm not the cheapest, guys. You want to work with me, you want to hire me, it's going to cost you money. But I'm going to take all of the pain and pressure and headache away from you, and I'm going to take care of it for you. Customer service. I know my competitor is going to charge 10%, I start looking at 15. I know my competitor is going to charge 50, I start looking at 65. And here's the service that's going to add. So you need to understand where you want to be in the reputation world. Do you want to be Walmart? Do you want to be Nordstrom's? Or Lord & Taylor? They still have Lord & Taylor? I don't know.
I like the Cadillac.
Cadillac. You want to be a Chevy? Or do you want to be a Cadillac? There you go. All right. So here's ultimately what we need to do is to create a win-win. I want my sellers to be happy with the overall package, which is why I never start discussions with commission. I don't care about the money. Let's talk about what problems do you need me to solve, and then I'll solve them for you. Lori, how am I on time? What do you need me to be? 15? Okay. So I don't want to be the, let's talk about price and let's worry about numbers, and then, oh yeah, when I'm done, let's figure out what I got to pack into that. I start with, what do you need me to do? Do you want me to put runners down on the floor? Do you need me to get a porta potty because you don't want anybody using the bathrooms? Do I need to run a shuttle from the high school parking lot because there's no room on your street to park cars? What service do I need to provide, and here's a cost? And then here, once we figured out everything you want me to do to take care of you, then I throw a number out. And the number's going to be high. And if you ever get a chance to go to CAI, which is the Certified Auctioneers Institute, there's a guy there that teaches negotiation. And he'll start with, I don't care what number they throw out. Your first response needs to be, ooh, that's high. I don't care what number they give you. Ooh, that's high. I just bought a new truck. They gave me a number. I'm like, ooh, that's beyond my budget. Well, what if we did this? Shannon hates it because I'll negotiate at McDonald's. I negotiate everything. That's going to be $1.40. Is that the best you can do for me? Come on. Can you throw in a free ice cream or something? I'm old. Sure, we'll give you an ice cream treat. I just negotiated it. But I won, right? But same thing with my customers. When they say, hey, listen, can you do it for 30%? I'm thinking, oh, I don't think I can do it for 30%, but here's what I can do. Now I'm at 50%. Let's start coming together. I would have done it for 30 if they would have stopped at 30. But if they're willing to go to 35, I'll go to 35. I'll stretch it and see if I can go to 40, right? That's negotiation. But I want them to think, I'm not going to overcharge them. If it's a 30% commission, I'm not going to go in and say, hey, I need to do it for 75%. You know, I'm not that greedy. I want to make sure they walk away thinking that they got great service, got their value, so when they talk to other people, they say how great I am, right? I want to win for them. I also want to win for me. I don't work for free. I can't afford to be sending a crew out and paying for trucks and insurance and a facility if I'm only making $150. I just as soon send everybody home and not work for that $150. Yes, sir.
Well, just, I know we're going through a lot of examples, but I guess in a given market, your prices are going, the spread's not going to be that big a lot of times.
Yeah, no, it varies. I've done some sales where, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I made $300. That's after paying my crew for working 5 days. I made a whopping $300, which probably by the time I add in all my real overhead, probably a wash. But I made a connection with that real estate broker who referred the sale to me. Now, next time they come across the house that has a bunch of stuff in it, what do? They call me. So that $150 that I made was an investment in the relationship. So you guys, there's no set answer. I can't tell you that 10% is a good commission and 90% is a bad commission. My answer is always gonna be, it depends. What do you
The
need?
buyers seem to, like, I know in real estate it's different because, you know, everybody thinks they know what the commission rate should be.
They think.
Yeah, but, I mean, in this, obviously, there's a lot more play in what auctioneers are charging than say.
Whole different world, because we're not dealing with one set asset.
Right.
And I don't know about your real estate market, but Colorado Springs, Denver Metro, brokers charge anywhere between 5 and 6%, unless you're a discount broker.
Right.
Well, if you're a discount broker, you're gonna charge a whole lot less up front, but then the buyer, the seller's gonna pay the buyer's agent instead of whatever, or the buyer's gonna pay the buyer's agent, but there's some different numbers there, but it's between 3, you know, it's between 5 and 6%. Auction world, it could be between 3 and 90%. Would you do an auction at a 90% commission? Is that fair to the client?
No.
Maybe.
Maybe's the answer.
Yeah.
I had a commercial broker say, I've got a building full of store fixtures, shelving rack and all that stuff. I need it out of here because I have a new tenant. And cost you 90% plus labor. Basically, you're gonna get zero for it. Says, is it gonna cost me to get the stuff out of here? I said, no, do it. I made 90%, well, technically 90% plus the buyer's commission. I made 105%. It was a pretty good day. It was a lot of work. I didn't make a lot of money. He got the stuff out, buyers were thrilled, they bought what they wanted, I got paid for my work, everybody walked away, that's a win-win. That's what we're hoping to accomplish. So let's talk about setting our fee, which is really what we've been doing. Number one, what profit do you want? You need to have a picture in your mind of how much do I want to earn on this project? Well, if I'm gonna do Granny's estate, and in my mind I have a commission, a profit of $5,000, I'm in the wrong business, right? I don't want Granny's estate if I need $5,000, I need that machine shop. I need to know how much I want to earn. Then we need to know what's the client willing to pay. And this is a question you need to add to your arsenal. What did you budget for your auctioneer? What did you plan on spending? That tells me where their mind's at. I do that at benefit auctions.
Yeah.
Because I used to do commission, now I do flat rate. So when I talk to my benefit clients, it's, what did you budget for your auctioneer? And I say, well, we budgeted $2,500. I don't do events for $2,500.
Yeah,
But I'd be willing to do it for X. And here's what you're gonna get for that money. So you need to have
right.
what your fee your client's willing to pay, and this is negotiation. What are you prepared to earn? And this next one on here, the unseen, you need to assume, I don't care what project you're working, something's gonna backfire. It's not a question of, will there be a train wreck? It's gonna be how many cars derail. Right? So you need to plan for things like PA system breaking, printers going down, internet failing, somebody doesn't show up to work, your food truck. Something's gonna happen that you're gonna have to spend money on, that's a guarantee. So just have a little cushion in your mind when you're planning your project, right? What's your competitor gonna charge? We talked about that. My competitor comes in at 10%. Hey, I won't do 10%. I'll do 15, whatever that may be. We talked about this. If you come in too low, what happens? Can you go back up?
No.
No. You know, I kept thinking of, you know, Get Smart, Maxwell Smart. Yeah, what I meant was, I'll do it for 20%. Well, we were paying 30. Yeah, what I meant to say was 40%. You cannot go up in your price in negotiations. It's not going to happen. Not unless I ask you for new things, then you can't. But if you come in and go, I'll do it for 10%, like, man, we were willing to pay 20. Damn. So that's why I want to know, what did you budget for? Well, we budgeted 20. Well, good, because I'll do it for 40. There's your negotiation, right? If you come in too low, two things happen. Number one, you're the cheap guy. You're the Walmart. You're the Pinto. I like Pintos because they went boom. Old guys know what I'm talking about. So I don't want to be the low guy. I don't want to be the Pinto. I want to be a Cadillac. Now, there's a danger in that too. Because some people think, well, if you come in too high, you can always negotiate down, right? Is that true? I got a couple of you shaking your heads yes, a couple of you shaking no. Who says yes, it's true, you can always negotiate down? Show of hands. You can. If what?
If they call you back.
If they give you the opportunity. If you set your price too high, they may not give you a chance to come back down. Great, so company A is doing 18%, company B is doing 20%, sure is gonna do it for 45%, forget them. I don't get that opportunity. This is why you need to know what your competition is doing. You need to make sure you come in fair, but if you want to be above everybody else, you don't come in way above everybody else.
Is there a likelihood for addendums when you set up a,
I do everything I can not to.
yeah,
Everything in my contract is inclusive. My auction contract, by the way, folks, is 14 pages. And you'll hear some auctioneers going, I have a one-page contract. Well, good for you until something happens. If something happens for me, I'm pretty sure in 14 pages it probably covered it. I don't want to test that theory though, right? So if you come in too high, you may not get the opportunity to reduce your fee. I include everything up front. If you want this service, this service, this service, and this service, I'll put it in the contract and here's my fee. Now, if they come in later and go, hey, we want you to add something, well, great, I'll add it for you, but there's an additional fee. So there are amendments. ABCs of sales. This comes from Mr. Jones directly. Always, this is in your notebook, always be closing. You do all this work to get this customer ready, you give them a proposal. I write proposals, I don't just call them and say it's 10%. Here's a proposal, you're gonna get this, 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 and this. Here's my fees, here's what you can expect. I write them a nice, long, visual, colorful proposal. But if you don't ask them to actually sign the contract, you've wasted your time. It's like when a politician doesn't ask you for the vote. You want me to vote for you, you gotta do this one important thing, that's ask me to vote for you. You want to sign the contract with me, you gotta ask me to sign the contract, right? I'm not gonna go on a listing presentation and not ask them to hire me. This is what you're asking them to do, this is your job. Folks, as auctioneers, we wake up every single day unemployed until somebody signs a contract with you. Now you have a job. Because if you ain't selling, you're not making any money. And that's if you're an owner. If you're lucky enough to be an employee, you still get your paycheck. I'm not an employee, I'm the owner. I don't get a paycheck if I don't sell. So it's always be closing. When you get in front of them, you ask them, and don't ask them, will you sign the contract? Is, would you like to sign the contract in paper or electronically? Because you're not giving them a yes or no choice, you're giving them a yes or yes choice, right? Yes or no choices, they can always tell you, no. This is why in my proposals, I give them 2 commission options. Here's a straight commission, or a commission can be reduced if you want to pay me some of my labor. Which option do you want? Instead of do you want to hire me, it's which option do you want? Here, sign here, here's the contract. Yes, sir.
Have you ever had a client try to back out of a contract?
Oh, all the time.
And what do you do about it?
Most of the time, I just walk away. It's not worth the headache. You know, it depends upon where I'm at in the process. If I haven't started the project yet, it's not worth my time to even file a lawsuit. If I'm midway through the project, I don't know, we're going to court. Because I need to collect for my labor, and my contract has a clause for termination or cancellation. So will I collect all the time? No. But once you're under contract and it's in writing and you start work, it's really hard for them to back out. Now, I've had situations where they were kind of forced to back out. Something happened, somebody else died, I'll work with them on that. On the benefit auction side, over COVID for the past 2 years, I had a dozen events cancel on me. I'm going to go sue a nonprofit?
Now you want to keep the relationship.
No. So the answer was, you just tell me when you're ready to do it, and I'll come back when you're ready to schedule. So do people cancel on you? Yes. Do bidders not pay you? Yes. Do sellers take stuff out of auctions and screw you? Yes. That's why my contract is 14 pages. I cover those things.
Is it acceptable to get a deposit from the client?
Absolutely. Always look for a deposit. So because I do like the labor and marketing as separate charges, I collect that up front and then I'll come do it. So I have something in hand. If they call me after day 2 of setup and we haven't sold anything and I got 2 days of labor into it, I got a little something. It doesn't cancel very often. It doesn't happen that much, but it does. So, yes.
As far as the contract, like you said, you had a port. Is there like a generic contract that you can find for starting off as your auction?
I'm going to defer most of this to Mike because he's going to talk about contracts at length.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this, if you copy somebody else's contract and don't have an attorney look at it, you're in trouble. Your contracts are written for you, and it's reviewed by an attorney who can enforce it. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble. That's why I hired an attorney to write my contracts. Right? So, I'm going to skip that. Always ask for the close. We've talked about that, and this is important. Now you've got the contract. The company said, or the client said, Rich, we want to hire you. We've signed a contract. Come start the project. These things are critical. Number 1 is communicate. I ask my clients specifically, how do you want me to communicate? You want me to call you? You want me to email you? You want me to text you? How often do you want to hear from me? I have some clients go, I want you to check in every day. Fine. I've got other clients like, send me a check when it's done and leave me the hell alone. Fine, I don't care as long as I know I can take care of it, right? So communicate how they want you to communicate. I'll tell you this, over-communicate. Give them a little bit more, keep them in touch. They appreciate it when they know what's going on. Address problems. A problem's going to come up when you're doing an estate sale. You're setting up a business. Yet you walk in there and they say, hey, listen, we want you to sell this refrigerator and this stove and this deep fryer. You get into the building. Well, what do you want me to do about the hole in the roof that's leaking on all your equipment? Not my problem. I'm going to be on the phone with them. Communicate problems immediately and give them a solution. Your roof's leaking, brother. I can't fix it, but I got the name of a roofer here if you want to call him. You've just solved a problem for them. So always communicate problems immediately. If you promise something, you would damn well better deliver it. I prefer to under-promise and over-deliver. I'm going to promise them what I need to, but I'm going to make sure I do above and beyond. Right? Exceed your expectations, and after the sale, again, this is where most salespeople fail, is they don't ask. What are you going to ask for after the sale? I'm going to ask them how everything went. What else? Referral. Are you happy? Can I get you, I'll do this on occasion, I'll pull my phone out. You go, would you just tell everybody how happy you are with my company? Sure. Now I've got a video commercial from a customer who likes me. A month later, they may not be so happy when they're running the numbers, and they realize, damn, I thought I could get more for that. And I got you on video saying you were happy. It's on Facebook already. So ask for the referral. Ask if there's anybody else they know I can contact. You have a business colleague that I can drop your name with. Ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. So here's the math. Some people say, well, if you ask, you get a 77% chance. No, it's 50-50. If you ask, you got a 50-50 chance. You're either going to say what? Yes or no. If you don't ask, what's the odds? Zero. All right. So I want you to think about this, and this is important. Is there competition out there in the auction world? Yes. Who is your competition? Other auctioneers where?
In the area?
In the area. Where else?
Online.
Am I your competition? Yeah. I've been around, our company's been around for 40 years. We're known internationally. Am I your competition? Yeah. Am I down in Texas recruiting sales? No. But might people find me and want to do business with me? Your job is to convince them that they're better off doing business with you. You don't have to slam me to do that. You just have to convince them that they're going to get a better result if you hire me instead of the competition. But I want you to look around this room and look at each other carefully, because this group, at the end of the week, you guys are going to be friends. Some of these friendships will last a lifetime. I can still picture the people I sat next to in auction school, because there were 65 of us in a room about half the size. We were like this. It's like, hey, Dax, will you scratch my cheek for me, because I can't get my arms up there. Right? But this room is going to be your greatest resource, and this room is going to be your greatest competitors. But you need to know each other. I'd much rather you guys be resources and friends and colleagues and support each other. You can do both. You can be competitors and still be friends. Just respect each other. All right. If you don't take care of your customers, somebody else will. And I do believe, Miss Lori, we're probably at that point. Any questions for me? Was this useful?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Does help you kind of understand where the money's coming from? I told you this morning, I am a capitalist. It's all about show me the money. Well, in order to show me the money, I need to know where it goes and where it comes from. I'm a master of what things cost me. I'm getting more and more into the estate goods, so I'm getting better and better knowing what things sell for. When it comes to comic books and coins and firearms, we got that dialed in, and we know our profits, but it takes a little time. First restaurant I sold, I couldn't tell you what stuff was going to bring. After selling 75 of them, I know exactly what it's going to bring, and I know what's going to cost me to sell it. When you get to that point, you can be real profitable. Between now and then, you're going to make some mistakes, and you're going to lose money on occasion. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. I'd rather you didn't, but if you lose money, figure out why, and then don't do it again. Mm-hmm. Don't make the same mistake twice. Yes, sir?
What pays a charity auction?
I'm sorry?
Like, at charity auctions and fundraising auctions, things like that, what pays the ringmen and the auctioneers and all that?
We're going to do a whole section on fundraising, so I'll give you the answers then if you're okay with that. Okay. Other questions?
Is it a good time to find an entry-level job in the industry?
That's a good question. I don't know. The market has changed so much in the past 2 years because of COVID. Some businesses have really suffered, others have skyrocketed. You may just have to look at different places than you would have 2 years ago, but there's always room for us. And quite frankly, there's not enough auctioneers to do everything that needs to be done. You just need to be proactive and go find somebody. Join your association. Right? Any other questions? Lori, when do you want it back? 10 minutes, boys and girls. Thank you for bearing with me. I know that was a long session.
Thank you.
Who do you use to grade comic books? Do you guys grade them?
I don't grade.
Okay, you outsource that?
We either outsource it or we sell them on eBay. We'll describe conditions in general.
She's gotten pretty heavy into the comic books and white and things like that.
Send it to a grader.
Well, it depends upon, if we think it's a $50 comic book, I'm not sending it,
But we've sold
we're good at
several-
sorting the junk from the ants. We're something to, this needs to be graded. And then we'll recommend to our client, you should get this graded. And if you get it graded, it's gonna bring you more money, but it's gonna cost you, and they have to decide, is getting it graded worth the investment?
Yeah.
Go to a show, comic show or something.
Yeah, we've sold some in the thousands,
Yeah.
and then you wonder if you really screwed yourself by not getting it graded.
Well, I think I told you earlier, I got this collection of the Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm negotiating with a national company, and they said, if we get the contract, one of the things we'll do for the seller is we'll send everything out to be graded
Yeah.
at our expense.
Oh, that's good.
So, we're not gonna leave any money on the table. In fact, we're gonna spend money to grade it for you, because
Right.
we think with grading, it'll bring enough money to pay us back and then some. So, would I do that? No. Because I can't afford to spend that kind of money in advance.
I noticed.
Yeah, they do, and they're gonna get it at wholesale and get it at retail, so they're gonna do a whole lot better. Yes, sir.
Where I'm at, we have a lot of estate sales, but the estate sales are a little more money because there's normally 2 or 3 tractors, cattle panels, just a
There's
small
something there of
yes.
value, yeah.
And some guys in the area, and for some reason our area, there's within 40 miles, there's 7 auctioneers.
Oh, wow.
And
I'm assuming agricultural community?
yes, very ag.
Auctions are part of society.
Yes.
It's not just a business, it's part of the fabric of the
Yeah.
community.
And I know a couple of them, they have just a sheet they go off of. If your estate sale is 10,000 to 20,000, I'm charging you 8%, 20% if your sales, and
Sliding scale.
but they don't have a clue what they're making. I mean, they have an idea because they've been in the business, but for the seller, well, if this brings $120,000 and selling equipment and this and that, yeah, he's getting 8%, and he just gives you see the whole price, and he'll just give you the sheet. Well, if we sell 10,000, he gets 60%. If we sell 20,000, he gets 20%, or whatever the case may be.
That's another way of doing business.
Is that something that's common, or is that just
Depends
in
upon
my
your
area?
region. And when I'm dealing with high-end assets, things that have a lot of value, we'll do a sliding scale and say, first 500, we're getting 30%. The next money over 500, we're getting 15. So the better it does, we're still making more money, but you're not getting screwed. But if you give me crap to sell, then I'm making my money up front.
Well, that's how I think. Because a lot of them, like you said, get the household junk, bring it out, put it on tables, they spend 8 hours $1,000. And then the next,
I never ever did want to sell. When I was selling cars, we're talking hundreds of